Hello and welcome to my garden. Today I'm going to be doing a bit of a garden tour and we can see what I've got growing here in my organic edible garden. I am creating organic edible gardens here in the suburbs of Perth so that I can create a more self-sufficient lifestyle. I don't have a huge block, but I am growing a whole lot of things and I love sharing that journey with you. So if that is something you're interested in, definitely hit subscribe and join me on this journey. I also have some new plans for new gardens, so make sure you stick around to the end because I'm going to share those with you. I am so excited to convert more of my gardens into edibles and just really maximize the space that I have available to grow all of the food. You don't need a huge amount of space to grow a whole lot of food, and I still have plenty of space left to convert, but I just like to do things one step at a time to make sure that it is sustainable long term and that I don't just rush in and chuck everything in and then it doesn't work and it turns into a wild mess. Although I do like a wild mess, but that is why I am trying to do things one step at a time and really maximize the space that I have available to grow all the food. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so here we have my rosemary, which I'm gonna give a really good trim back soon because it's got lots of new growth on the top here, but it has got a really large woodier section in there. So I wanna get rid of that. And so I'm gonna have to make lots of rosemary recipes. Smells so good. So I have lots of rosemary recipes to come. All right, so moving on, this is the back of my property. I am trying to cover my fence with all edible trees and shrubs, and I'm doing it with a lot of permaculture principles and sort of like a food forest layering system where I've got my larger trees and then underneath I have some smaller edible shrubs and edible flowers because I want to attract as many pollinators to my garden as I can, especially with these fruit trees here. It is so good to have extra pollinators ready to pollinate all the flowers so I get lots more fruit. And then on the bottom I have a few ground covers with sweet potato. I've just planted some strawberries. I have lots of edible flowers and I have a few things randomly popping up still from things that have self-seeded like lettuces, there's random garlic, there's a whole lot of random things in there that create that bottom layer and cover that soil for a living mulch. Here behind me we have one of my favourite trees, which is my feijoa or my pineapple guava, and it is sending off heaps of new growth. You can see the lighter leaves up here, that's all new growth, and on that new growth is lots of flowers, which is going to be heaps of fruit. The thing with feijoas is that they do fruit more on new wood than they do on the older stuff, so it is good to give them a big cut back once they're finished fruiting, which over here is in autumn. So it's starting to send off flowers now and the fruit won't be ready till autumn, and then I'm going to give it a good haircut so that the next season I can get lots more fruit on the new growth and it won't be too big and hard to reach. See, we've got one little flower in there that's popped up, and then the rest are these little stubby things here that will shoot off into bright red flowers soon. So you can see them all in there on the new growth. There is going to be a whole lot of feijoas, which I am so excited about. And then down here, as you can see, I've got some wild lavender, which I need to give a good cut back as well. I'm going to harvest these flowers and dry them. And we've got my lemon tree, which I just gave a really big cut back as well because it was just getting too tall and it was hanging all over the neighbour's fence. So I've cut that back and given it a good feed. And then over here we have my second feijoa, which is a little bit smaller and it does fruit after the first one. So that's kind of good. I get like a continuous longer season of feijoa fruit. It's getting pretty big now. It's nearly the same, well, it is the same height as the fence and it's pushing out. Feijoas are a really good one to have as a fence screen cover because they are a really lush evergreen ornamental as well, so they look great all year round and they are really dense and bushy, so they cover that fence really well. Plus they're edible, which is amazing. You don't necessarily need to have more than one if you have got a self-pollinating one. Most of the generic ones are self-pollinating, but if you can have more than one, it's definitely a good idea because that will increase the pollination and you'll get a whole lot more fruit. But definitely if you can also get a named variety rather than just the generic ones, that is going to produce much better fruit. All right, so I gave this a big tidy up and pulled out all the sweet potatoes, so there's lots of gaps now. but this is a curry plant. We've got a little strawberry down there, another little strawberry over here, some banana. This is a type of chicory lettuce. It's very bitter. Put in a solar light. And then we have a really sad pawpaw papaya. It doesn't like the wind. We get so much wind here, so not looking that great. This one here, which is taken right off, and I've actually cut the tops out now, so it'll slow down the height of it and get a lot more bushier. And this is an elderflower. So that's another really nice one for this gap, which will hopefully join up soon. This also probably needs a haircut. This is my Hawaiian guava. It's starting to send off lots of new growth as well, but I definitely need to give it a prune because it's looking like a really weird shape and getting too tall, because I don't want them to get too tall, otherwise it's just going to be harder for me to pick the fruit and the branches might snap off. So definitely give that a cut next year, probably let it get a little bit bigger. And then down here we've got some more self-seeded edible flowers. This is the calendula, and these just pop up everywhere, and I let them go to seed all through the garden. This is a poppy, so that is going to come up soon. This one is cardamom, which is just doing quite well here. It's popping up little new ones everywhere. Haven't really used that in cooking yet, so I'm excited to try that. Snapdragons, self-seeded cornflowers, which I love growing. I'm going to plant heaps more. I've got lots of seedlings, but this one was self-seeded, and probably I'll get a whole lot more self-seeding in here because I grew it here before. I just put that solar light in there as well. My mulberry, which if you've watched any of my other garden tours, you'll see the growth on this is just wild, and it's got heaps of fruit on it. We've had really bad winds, so lots of fruit has dropped off, which I was pretty gutted about, but there's still some in there. So this is the white mulberry, which tastes like honey. And then here we have the arrowroot, which is looking a bit damaged. We've had really bad wind. And then underneath that is obviously all this nasturtium. This is my strawberry guava, and it's got little flowers on it and lots of new growth. So I gave this a really good haircut because it was looking quite sad last year. So this side especially is looking very thin, but all this new growth should hopefully help cover some more of this area of the fence. And then nasturtium, wild. This is the Cape gooseberry, and it's got some fruit on it. Does not like the wind either, but it seems to be doing okay. And I can hear the bees just humming through these nasturtiums. This is my hibiscus. This area gets a lot of shade, so there's not a whole lot that grows very well here, and even that hibiscus is not looking that great, but this fell over in the storm. I need to get my knife so we can cut these up. Probably going to cut that off because it's going to get mowed otherwise, and I'm going to use these leaves to make pesto, but you can see there's heaps more new ones popping up everywhere. Okay, so here we have my kitchen gardens, which are still loaded with greens. I've got heaps of rainbow chard, I've got heaps of lettuces, so I was hoping to be able to get through a lot of those and then being able to plant my summer stuff in, but it's looking like I just can't rip them out when they're all looking so good. So I'm just continuing to eat these. I've got heaps of celery in here as well, lots of salad ingredients, so I'm going to pick some of those as well, and lots of edible flowers. I always put edible flowers in amongst any of my veggie plants so that I can attract some beneficial insects, lots of pollinators, and I just like diversity in all my gardens. I like to mix everything in. Alright, so in here we've got, this is a actual a brown fennel, which I'm trying out. We've got lettuce, snapdragons, this beautiful lush looking lettuce here, lots of self-seeded celery, like wild everywhere, some rainbow chard, snapdragons, these are some spring onions which are about to flower, little radishes in between, a random self-seeded tomato plant, hello, we like you, more snapdragons. This is looking a little bit sad, but this was an overwintered eggplant. It is a white eggplant. It's already got some little flowers on it and stuff, so it should bounce back nicely now that the weather's warming up. Billion more celery plants in there. And as you can see, I've just been harvesting the rainbow chard on the outer stalks, so still got heaps of life left in that. And then over here, I need to thin out some of these because it's just wild. That is just all celery plants that were self-seeded. Look at the colour on this. It is beautiful. So vibrant. And then a pink, bright pink rainbow chard in there. Random garlic. This one we've got some garlic, lots of parsley which I've been using, a chili plant which is coming back to life after winter, just randomly chucked in here with seeds from the other fennel plant, and more rainbow chard, some lettuces. This is a celery that I grew from a scrap of celery. Not that I needed to do that, but I can't throw things out. More lettuce. This is a Chinese cabbage which has been eaten, and also I can see it's going to flower because it's been too warm, so that can come out. Any of these holy leaves I just use as pesto. More rainbow chard. This is my herb bed in here which got overtaken by more celery. Got some grapefruit mint though, which I've been loving in my drinks. Thyme. This is Vietnamese mint which I had never tried before. Oh my god, I did not realise what Vietnamese mint tasted like. Wow. If you have never tried Vietnamese mint before, it basically just tastes like pure spice. It's like chili mint, it's so spicy. I don't know how I'm going to use that, but we're not going to waste it. It's going to make it into something. Might dehydrate it and then turn it into something spicy powder, but you know, whatever. Poor finger lime, which looked like it's dying. The grasshopper ate all the leaves off it. There's lots of new leaves and growth coming on to this one, so I'm so excited. It's not dead, it is going to come back to life. Hopefully lots of leaves will be in our next garden tour. Watch this space. Alright, so over here I've got lots of my seedlings that have been outside to getting some sun. Rock melon, pumpkins, lots of different tomatoes and squash, corn, all the things. All the summer seedlings getting ready to plant. Blood orange is looking amazing. Lots of new growth, lots of flowers, lots of bees buzzing around. The mandarin is covered in flowers as well. So this mandarin hasn't fruited before, but we've got little fruits on there. And then the lemonade tree, which has got some lemonades on it, lots of lemonades on it, lots of flowers. So then this space here behind me between the house and the fruit trees, this space here, I'm going to put in some more raised garden beds so I can have lots more space to grow veggies. So these beds here are going to be mainly annuals, so I'm going to plant lots of tomatoes this season, so keep watching. I've got I've actually got the garden beds. I just need to get the soil and do some digging. Outer leaves of this rather than harvesting the whole thing, because I don't want to necessarily eat the whole thing. Yeah. Need to eat this celery. A few radish. I'm going to cut this off.